Welcome to the video, guys. It seems like it's been a busy week for the complete and utter joke that is the UK justice system, especially when it relates to politicians from both sides of the political spectrum. Because, as you might remember the other day, I covered the scumbag ex-Labour councillor who had actually essentially got away with the heinous crimes that he had committed, having 1 million indecent images of children. We also had a Tory MP being accused of being a bit of a sexual deviant, but we're still waiting to see if there is any truth to those accusations. Of course, he is innocent until proven guilty. But it would seem an ex-Labour MP, Eric Joyce, was up in court yesterday for making an indecent image of children. Now, of course, being an ex-Labour MP and a politician, he obviously didn't go to prison for this. Much like the ex-Labour councillor, he only got a suspended sentence, which you can see here in this Guardian article that headlines ex-Labour MP Eric Joyce gets suspended jail sentence over child abuse image. Because that seems to be the going rate for these complete and utter scumbags, providing of course that you were an MP or a politician from one of the political parties. These two articles alone about these two former Labour politicians shows that the UK justice system needs to be torn down and restarted again. Kick some of these judges out that are giving people suspended sentence for these heinous crimes. The former Labour MP Eric Joyce has been handed a suspended sentence after admitting to making an indecent image of a child, which it wasn't just making an indecent image of a child. Apparently it was like 7 children ranging from like 12 months up to 10 years or something like that. We'll see it in the article in a moment. The 59-year-old ex-army major who served as MP for Falkirk for more than a decade was given an 8-month sentence, suspended for 2 years, and also ordered to complete 150 hours of unpaid work. Now, they might call him an ex-army major, but this arsehole was forced to resign from the army because he was running around calling the army racist and trying to put it down. They gave him the choice of resigning or they would boot him out. Obviously, he took the former. The former shadow minister had a 51-second film on a device depicting penetrative sexual abuse of very young children. Because obviously he's a complete and utter fucking scumbag, which shows to what I've said already, that this guy deserved a prison sentence, much like the Labour councillor did. Joyce of Worlingworth, Suffolk, who was on bail after being arrested in 2018, had pleaded guilty at an earlier hearing at Ipswich Crown Court to the offence, which took place between August 2013 and November 2018. Joyce was ordered to sign the sex offenders register after his admission. I hope he will be signing it for the rest of his fucking life. Sentencing on Friday, Mr. Justin Edis said, "You have pleaded guilty to an offence which involves the possession of a Category A film of a little less than a minute's duration. The film showed the penetrative sexual abuse of very young children. That these acts of abuse happened is because there are people like you who want to watch these films. If there was no market, those children wouldn't be subjected to those very serious offences." Which is obviously true, but by what he's saying there means he should have put him in prison, and obviously he fucking didn't, so I really don't know what this idiot judge is doing. The judge added, "You have sought help from people well able to provide it, and there's evidence before the court that this has had an effect on helping you reduce, perhaps completely, your impulsive behaviour, and that's happened over a significant period due to the delay in these proceedings." Which does not make the fucking slightest bit of difference considering what he has done. At the end of the day, he still committed the crime. He should be doing the time, not getting a fucking suspended sentence. I really can't believe this shit. Edis also sentenced Joyce to a sexual harm prevention order lasting until further order of the court. The ex-MP was also given an 18-day rehabilitation activity requirement and ordered to pay prosecution costs of £1,800, which, I don't know about you guys, really seems like a justifiable sentence to someone who has committed a Category A crime relating to children. Is this judge actually having a fucking laugh? I would really love to know the reasoning behind his decision. And Robert Buckland, the Justice Secretary, really needs to do something about this, if you ask me. 2 separate courts in this land have allowed politicians to essentially get away with some of the most heinous crimes you can actually do. At an earlier court hearing in July, Judge Emma Peters warned Joyce that the offence crossed the custody threshold. She said the film found on a device depicts a number of children. Some are quite young. One is said to be 12 months old, she said. Clearly a Category A movie, which means he should be put in prison. It has obviously crossed the threshold, like she said, which could be why they have now changed the judge that was involved in it. Maybe she would have put him down, as where this one wouldn't. She explained that Joyce, who appeared at court in person, says he accessed it via email, which he says was a spam email. Bollocks. The judge added, at the time, he was drinking heavily and he has now undergone work with the Lucy Faithful Foundation and a psychotherapist, which makes absolutely no fucking difference at all. Drinking is not an excuse and undergoing work with whoever you want is not going to change what he thinks at the end of the day. He should be in prison and for a fucking long time, if you ask me. And the rest of it's just talking about shit he did there. After the sentencing, an NSPCC spokesman said, by accessing this appalling material, Joyce was helpful to fuel a foul industry that thrives on inflicting pain and suffering on children. Why are the NSPCC not condemning the judgment that is allowing this fucker to walk free from court? That is something I really question myself. The NSPCC should be screaming from the rooftops trying to protect children, yet they're not. They seem to be making excuses for this arsehole. Joyce was helping to fuel a foul industry that thrives on inflicting pain and suffering on children. The problem cannot be solved by law enforcement alone. It is imperative that tech companies commit extra resources to prevent this material being shared and to ensure it is removed as soon as it appears online. No, that is not going to work. If the police actually put these people in prison for a long enough time to make them wish they didn't do it, then maybe we would see a reduction in the numbers. Sitting there attacking tech companies and blaming them is not going to sort out the problem when you've got judges in the UK allowing this shit show to happen by giving people a fucking suspended sentence. Tech, at the end of the day, is not going to change a judge who is making stupid decisions like we have seen here and the Labour councillor before him. It comes after former Conservative MP Charlie Elfwick, we know about him, and the Tory MP was arrested the other day. I covered both of them then. Well, surprise, surprise, the UK justice system lets down the people of this country, and including children, obviously, much like the grooming gang situation that we have been dealing with for years, and the government and judicial systems are covering up. I really wonder how many more of these lowlifes we don't know about yet. I expect there is a fucking lot of them.
There is a pattern consistent throughout history of oppressed people turning on the oppressors, slaves against their owners, the peasantry against the feudal barons, colonies, Mr. Verhofstadt, against their empires, and that is why Britain is leaving. And it doesn't matter which language you use, we are going, and we are glad to be going. We're off.